Okay. Oh shit, wait. Hey guys, welcome to the next episode. Today's episode is going to be about my buddy Brent's All Road. It's an Audi A4 All Road scuba blue, and I call it the BallRoad. The reason why I call it the BallRoad is it's basically the most expensive all road that I know about. He's done a whole lot to the car itself. Some quick background. I've known Brent since the third grade. It's funny because when I was thinking about how I want to tell the story, I was like, oh, what should I mention about Brent? Because he's a car guy. He's totally into cars, but he doesn't go to all the events and all that stuff. He's sort of low pro. But I've known him since the third grade. One of the things that I thought about was, man, he's got a wagon now. One of the things that I remember when we were kids was we went to a birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese, and his dad had a wagon, like a Nissan Maxima wagon or something like that. And there were a bunch of us just piled in on our way to I think it was his birthday party actually. But now he's got this wagon, which is pretty insane. I asked you guys on Instagram whether you wanted to hear about it or wanted an episode on it. And it was like pretty much resounding, hell yeah, we want to know about this All Road. So, quick breakdown on his cars. Started off life with a 91 Corolla. So we're talking, oh man, it makes me feel old. But we were what, 16? You're 16 when you get a car. So his first car was a 91 Corolla. I remember because we went to different high schools, but we were both into cars at the same time, and we lived in the same neighborhood. So like, I actually lowered his car for him almost too low a few times. I remember because he had suspension technique springs, and this was still at the cusp of when modding cars was still sort of new. So, we're like, oh, you got lowering springs, but it's not low enough, so let's cut them. So I'm in there with a grinder cutting his springs, and we didn't know to cut bump stops as well at that point. So we're cutting the springs, like, why isn't this low enough? Then we cut the bump stops, and it just dropped the car. Like it was the way he wanted it, but it was so bouncy. It was a terrible, looking back on it, it's hilarious. Like, it makes me laugh till this day, but not real safe, it looked great. It looked cool, but that was basically his first modded car. From there, he went to a 2000 Camry, I believe, and that car he's factory supercharged from TRD. He had Brid seats on it. I remember we went to the port to pick up his Brid seats through, like, I forgot the name of the company. I want to say it was like T3. Was it T3? Or T Associates. Whoever was bringing it before Brid North America existed, he wanted to do that. So I installed those for him. He had an Apexi exhaust, and I forgot what kind of suspension on there. It was probably before JIC, so I don't think it was JIC. Shortly after that, he sort of went into the Audi scene, European cars. So when he moved into the Audis, and it's a bummer because I have this written down somewhere, but basically he started off with an A4, two A4s, right? So his first two A4s were sedans, both white, and I want to say it was like a B6, no, B5 and B6. I think that's right, because Wendy had a B6 and a half or something weird like that. Anyways, they were both, and I'll put images of them as within the video, but he started off with both Audis, did some wheels, suspension, did a little bit of work on those. It really got gnarly when he got into the Avant. So he bought it's funny, I'll put the stock images on here. It's pretty, I don't want to say hilarious, but it's pretty stock. But he got his All Road, scuba blue, bone stock, and apparently he had a plan for it, so he knew what he wanted to do with it. Us being friends, I know he's going to do wheels, suspension, all that stuff, but I didn't think he'd ever go, I guess, this far down the rabbit hole. But I'm going to do a breakdown here, and I guess I'll cut back and forth in between what you're seeing and what he's done to the vehicle. So basically, from a wheel standpoint, he's running 20 by 9.5 square Avant GTs, great wheel, JDM. I believe the color is machining and racing metal black. He's running Falcons on there, 265 30/20. Wheel or any tire guys out there? Yes, Brent's looking for tire sponsorships. For a brake standpoint, he's running an upgrade from an Audi Q5 3.0T, their Brembo OEM brakes with gyro disc slotted rotors, and running, once again, JDM endless pads. From a suspension standpoint, he's running KW Variant 3 coilovers, H&R front and rear sway bars, and SBC front adjustable control arms. For the wheel setup, he's also got a wheel studs conversion from Motorsports Hardware. What's up, Ryan? Moving outside, from an aero standpoint, he's running a B8 RS4 Avant rear boot or wing right above the hatch. He's got paint matched all road fenders all around, also in scuba blue from Signature. What's up, Jimmy? RS4 Avant OEM roof rails, which are shorter. They're black optic, sort of going for the black optic theme around the entire vehicle. All trim parts are powder coated, wrapped. He's got the skid plates that are powder coated, and then window trims, grills, you name it. Everything has that black optic theme. Moving to the interior, it's really interesting. He went with Recaro CS Sportsters, custom upholstered by my buddy over at our Strada. Chestnut brown, really cool. Looks completely OEM. You wouldn't know except for the fact that they're, racing sport seats. But they actually look like they fit really well in there. Looks pretty OEM if you ask me. Along with that, he did the row rear headrests, which are shorter. They're lower pieces, for rest of the world. OEM carbon fiber Audi interior trim, flat bottom, full leather perforated steering wheel from an RS5. He basically, and I'll get into this in a little bit, he had an RS5 donor, so pulled a lot of the parts over from there. Instrument panel, steering wheel I mentioned. He was also running a P3, like a digital gauge, which used to be running boost, but now the car's normally aspirated, so I believe he's running exhaust temp on it. It's got RS4 Avant door pulls, RS5 shifter knob, front and rear black view cameras, and Audi RS5 pedals. So the interior is like completely done up. Really nice, really cool, that you don't really see a lot in Avants. It started life as a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo. And this is why I've dubbed it the BallRoad. I mean, it started life pretty basic. 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo, not a lot of horsepower, not a lot of torque. Brent did what he could with it. So he did a Loba turbo upgrade with an integrated engineering front mount intercooler, Revo tune, 034 air inlet, high flow cats, and a Militech Sport exhaust. So that was pretty much like his first setup in the car, as far as the engine and performance goes. Then about January, at least, about 6-7 months ago, he's like, hey, I think I'm going to do an RS5 motor swap. And I'm like, yeah, right. There's no way you're going to go do that. But he did. Talked to his boys over at Pacific German, Tyler, and basically sourced an RS5 via auction that had crashed, and decided, you know what, I'm going to take all the parts from it that I can, the motor, individual pieces, and build myself an RS4 Avant, which is crazy insane. So he did that. And I believe he's one of the first 2 in the US to do it. So now he's running a 4.2 liter V8 RS5 motor. It's from a full donor car. Pacific German did the transplant. As OEM as possible, wiring harnesses, etc. No check engine lights, no Christmas trees. The car runs great. I can attest to that because I've actually been in it. What's really cool is the car is barred, which means it's legal for California. So it's not titled in another state, or doesn't, bypass emissions by going through Arizona or Nevada or whatever for registration. He brought it to basically the California bar and said, hey, you guys, check this out. It's completely as OEM as we can make it. And they legitimized it. So basically he gets a smog and registration, everything, just like any other normal car, which is badass. If you have an engine swap and it's barred, I personally, and I think most would attest that the car is actually worth more. So that's really cool. I'm glad that he did that. He's running, I think, the car itself now with the RS5 stuff is basically stock performance-wise. I know he wants to get a Group M intake. Mamoru, if you happen to be watching this, call me, let's hook him up. And he's got an RS4 Militech Sport non-resonated exhaust, I believe. So that's as far as he's gone with the current setup. I'm sure, knowing Brent, he's going to do more. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Be sure to watch my other videos if you get a chance. Got a pretty cool interview with Max Verstappen and Albon. Sorry, you're gone, Albon. But check that out. I've got a couple other videos, and I'm going to be producing a lot more, hopefully, maybe once a week if I can. So be sure to check it out. I still have 2 Maguire's giveaways to ship out, to send out for someone to win. When I launch this episode, I will hopefully tell you who the first winner was, and we'll go from there. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Peace.